The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
everyone. We're going to get started with our first week. This will be recorded, so um, if you either have to hop off or you know somebody that end up making it but registered, we'll be sending them the video. So just a quick introduction. My name is Tina Kimmel. I'm part of the marketing team here. I've been working on the marketing for our upcoming product, Equatio. We're so glad all of you are joining us for our sneak peek of it. As you may have heard, the official launch is April 4th, so in a little less than 2 weeks. But we're excited to give you guys a sneak peek because we think it'll be a really great addition to your current assistive technology program. And it works really well with Redirect Google, so there's a lot of great overlap there. So with that being said, we'll kick things off. I'm going to introduce you to John McGowan, who you may have heard of. He's the creator of GMath, the GMath add-on, which we acquired in August of last year, along with John. So John is now a text helper. We like to call him the STEM text helper. And he has been helping us along the way, building out Equatio, letting us know what math teachers need in a product like this. And so we're really excited to have him on board and get his feedback on what he can do to the math class to make it digital. And so if you've used GMath before, you'll see a lot of similar features in Equatio, but you'll also see a whole lot more. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John, who can tell you a bit more about the product and then give you a demo.
Awesome. Thank you, Gina. I really appreciate it. And I am super excited to be able to talk about Equatio. It's something that's been coming along since I joined back in August. I'm overjoyed every day when I get to do the demo. It's super fun. I can't wait to do the full build and show it with everybody. So essentially, what is it? We have a great quote from Emily Fitzpatrick from EdTech in Canada. And then essentially, it's everything that I wanted to teach. What can I make to do? How can I use this awesome collaboration tool with Google Docs and quick assessment Google Forms and still use the power of math? And then also we're expanding it up to all the STEM fields, and we're going to continue to roll that out and iterate and add more. So that's the whole goal, is to just make it easy and fun to create digital math. My goal is actually to make it delightful and intuitive, and I think we're getting much closer to that point. So why do we build Equatio? So GMath I was so surprised how that took off, and if you're familiar with it, that's awesome. It's really amazing for me. I learned how to code just so I could have my students use Google Docs, and then it took off from there. And it still has this ease that it doesn't exist yet through this level requirement. So we built Equatio. It's kind of like GMath growing up, and if you don't know GMath, that's fine. But Equatio, if you do know GMath, we built in almost all the same improvements. So aspects of it have been left behind going digital. With hard to type math, it's hard to represent things digitally in math and science, and we're trying to change that. And then that's the hard part, is that technology is this amazing thing, and these Chromebooks coming to the classroom are cheap things. They're ubiquitous, students have devices, and then they just can't use these devices in the classroom. So we want to make sure that technology can actually enhance learning, not just failure. There's an accessibility issue. The text help is amazing with reading, writing, creating accessibility. And I found math is an accessibility problem. It's hard to get through digital. So that's why text helps is super amazing, because they have a vast experience in making things accessible. So I'd love to join up, and we're making math and STEM accessible now too. And then finally, we're shifting from, so if you use GMath, it's an add-on for Google Docs, a separate one for Google Forms, and another one for Google Sheets. And so the problem with add-ons is they are contained only within that add-on. And so it looks slightly different based on what you're doing, and that's confusing for students and for teachers alike. And so we want to make it, now we're going to a Chrome extension, so it's the same thing, the same experience no matter where you're using it, and it also gives us the power to move outside of Google Docs and Google Forms. So that's the reason why, so that we can build out and do some other things, not just the class. And so quickly, let's break it down. It's going to be a Chrome extension, and it's this super cool little, it's built upon the Penrose triangle, so I'm super excited by that. It's a sort of recommended thing, and it will have Google Docs and Forms integration when we launch on April 4th. And the best part is it's going to work on Windows, Mac, Chromebook, no matter what, if you're in the Chrome browser, it works best. So we shift a little bit from GMAT, and we want to build it on these full review systems. So what does that mean if you're not familiar with it? I was familiar with it before starting to talk with Martin, our CTO, and start talking about accessibility. And the more I learn about it, the more I think it's just a natural way to teach. So we're trying to reach every student. And we all have our inherent learning styles, and as teachers, we're going to bias. We teach in the style or the manner that we learn best, and that's not always what the students do. And so we want to make it easy for students to create and consume math and STEM content in the manner that they prefer. So whether it's with prediction, handwritten recognition, speech input, and a lot of people want to use that, that's great. So we want to make it so they can create and consume it however they want. And then we make it digital, and as a teacher, I can then consume it in the manner I want, but I can also create and consume it the same way I want. So that's the beauty, is that my learning style and my students don't have to be the same, but yet we can still find this common ground in digital, and then make it so we can both enjoy the content in a manner that we prefer. We also link up the freedom rights to match the speech, and then we also can do we can read that aloud, make that accessible, because that's great, because typically it wasn't accessible before now. And then we also have our first STEM part. We're going to have some chemistry projects, so I'll show that a little bit later. And then we're going to be continuing launching more and more STEM options. And this summer we're going to have add on to Equatio to be much more rich environment. I'll talk about that a little bit after the demo. So just quickly, licensing and pricing, it will be, I'm going to get to this kind of before the demo as well, but it will be a premium product. And so essentially, if you go with the Google domain license, it comes down to $1 per student, and that is 75 cents per user if you're an existing Read and Write customer. Another thing to note is that if you're a Read and Write customer, we want them to be co-determinants, meaning that they're in at the same time, so we might have a prorate ratio until your renewal time for Read and Write comes up, so that they can start together again. So that might be a nicer way to have lower pricing for the initial part. And so you can also talk to your rep. I have a slide here that I contact your rep if you don't know who they are. I can contact us and talk about that. So demo time. This is what I've been waiting for. I have so much fun every day when I get to play with our build and just imagine how. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Just before we do the demo, we've started getting questions already. Please continue to put the questions in the question section, and at the end we will answer all those questions, or and then we can. We have had a lot of, so I just forgot to mention that at the beginning. Now we can go on with the demo. Thanks, John.
Awesome, thank you. Great. So the big thing is on April 4th, we're going to launch in Docs and Forms. And so from there on, we're going to be constantly building some of the things out, and I'll talk about after the demo where we're going to move from that. But essentially, let's see, first off, it's just going to start off as an extension. So let's say I'm just in a normal Google Doc, which Google Docs shifted my entire perception as a teacher. I use Doctopus, shout out to Andrew Stone, it's amazing this, to share out a doc. I put some math problems in a doc and shared it out with my class. And I had a class, I put some kids in groups and had a class edit document. And I had a girl who never said a word in class. She was brilliant, but her voice just didn't come out. It's very mousy. It literally almost put your ear to her mouth to hear her say something. And when I shared a document, she was a voracious commenter. She was like, I had to go actually walk back to her computer and make sure it was her and not somebody hacking her account. And that shifted my whole perception of teaching, giving this new medium of Google Docs. So the beauty here is this Equatio will allow us to make it digital and work in these docs. So as a Chrome extension, all you have to do is have to click the button when you're in Docs, and it launches the nice little toolbar down here at the bottom. And so we have 4 options of ways to input math. So the first one is our equation editor. And so as we pop that open, we can actually even drag this open up more. So that's one beauty of how we moved out of the sidebar. We actually have much more space here to work horizontal. So I'm really excited by adding that extra space. You might also notice if you go to GMAT, here's these little populated ones that we have if you want to use those. But our goal is that you won't need to know any shortcuts, because now we have math predictions. So let's say I want to type like 3x squared. just type SQ, then it's going to predict which I want. So which of these map terms. So if I click on square, then it actually makes and puts that 2 on the super screen. So awesome. You don't need to know the shortcut. It still works if you know that Shift 6 to make a little character shove in the superscript. But you don't need to know that. I've also found that like PL for plus is like super awesome, and I'll pop that in there. And I use that PL and hit enter much more frequently now because it's very difficult for me to stretch with my pinky to hit the left hand to hit shift and stretch to put the plus sign. So I hardly ever use the plus key. So I can just, as I want to do that, I can just to end up typing in there. So even like EQ for equals, equals. So once I have that typing part, I can just insert that one. And it automatically wherever I am. Now that that's made, I can actually jump to read and write, and read and write will read that aloud as it should. So
3x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0.
And I'm not sure if you can hear that read out because it's coming out of my machine. So it should. Did you guys hear it? If you couldn't, write it out loud.
I hear it done.
Okay, great. And so now on that part, so that's a beautiful way to use prediction in there. And so if I want to get rid of something, I can delete it. I can also extract it. So I just click on it, hit extract, and it'll populate it. So anything I make, I can also edit as well. And so what other prediction things do we have? So we have some formulas, so like typing QU, I get forward quantity, but also like quadratic formula, quotient of powers. So I hit that, and it automatically enters in my quadratic formula. I'm so excited by that because that will enable my students to be able to show more thought process because it makes it easier for them to type that in. So I'm so happy that we have these things built in. So I can also beyond those, like we have a standard library of things, so like standard deviation of the sample, standard form of the linear equation, standard form of the quadratic, so lots and lots of different things that I can put in. But not only that, we also have chemistry options. So if I start, all of our chemical compounds are built in there. So like aluminum triacetate with subscripts and parentheses, not super easy to make, but I can instantly insert that in for my chemistry. So that chemistry prediction is the first component of that STEM feature that we're building into there. And we're going to constantly be adding more and more features for physics equations and things that we might need to use in biology, and all of these types of STEM objects that we're doing. So I think that was really awesome, that prediction part where no longer do we have to hunt and peck for the button, click to make sure I put my stuff in there. So every other editor, equation editor is what's palette based. We have to find the correct button and then click on it first, and then when I do, then I find what I want to put in there. And that's not necessarily a very easy thing, especially if you're trying to learn what a square root is. You might not already know what the square root looks like. So you can literally just start typing SQ and find that square root. We also have coming down the line Spanish predictions. You can start typing RA for high school, and then that would give you the square root sign. So that's super awesome for students who are English as a second language or Spanish speaking to be able to make that connection. So we also have a LaTeX editor, which I don't really want to demo that part. My goal is to move you away from LaTeX, but it's pretty cool that if you have some LaTeX in there, you can actually edit on this side as well. So if I edit on this side with my normal simple editor, it'll show me what the LaTeX is. So if you're trying to learn LaTeX, that's a nice way to do it. But I don't want you to ever have to use LaTeX. So let's go ahead and look at what our handwriting component looks like. I'm super excited by this handwriting. Now, I'm showing you on what is not my touch screen, and so I have a touch screen which is beautiful, but the handwriting here is still okay with just my hands. So my handwriting is not good. What you can see here is I handwrite it across the dial as a 5, and so you can even correct it with this as a 3. And so we'll just start over, okay? So we'll make it up for them. So it'll automatically recognize that. And it can even do some complex things. So I can make a square root of 3 in there, and then I can come over here, and if it's possible for me to edit with my simple part, I can. So I can just edit over there if I want. And put it in there. So the cool part though is that's handwriting that goes to our recognition component. I'm not going to edit it yet, but if I insert it in there, now I just want handwriting to be accessible. So if I would pull this down and then that read and read that aloud.
X plus 12 over square root of 3.
So I'm super excited about that combination because it literally goes from a real world handwritten thing to accessible. So that's our technology right there. It makes it accessible that previously wasn't. So like I said over here, if we have this little guy in green, that means that we can edit over here using our simple verb. So I can even just say like equal 4 over 12. And then that. But that's a really cool part that I can edit on that. Now I can actually, if I wanted to, add over here some other handwriting stuff, and we'll continue editing at the end of it. So that's really fun and cool. But another thing that I love is the speech input function. So the speech input, it'll start to record all of my things. So if I click, then the speech input will try to determine all the things that I'm saying and filter out non-math terms. And so I can actually edit that, either the things that it interprets, or I can edit it in like 3x squared plus 14 equals 10. So when I pause that, there's a bunch of ands and I's that those will be gone when we launch in a week and a half. But I can also just edit those out over here. So if I want, I can edit them out here, and then it goes over there, that part. Or if I wanted to, I can square root of 4. I can actually interpret it over here as well if I want. And so, like, let's say I wanted a 6, I can even type in your letters. So you can literally read out like a problem. Maybe you had a word problem of like 3 cats and 2 dogs. If I did that, 3 cats plus 2 dogs, how many legs are there? So if I said 3 cash, that's right, I can just say like 3 cats. And plus it's like $2, I can say 2 dogs. But either way, so it can interpret some of that math in there. So I think that's a great way to recognize, especially for students who can't understand yet as they're learning a new topic. They hear all this new vocabulary, they can literally just speak it. Like a square root of 4, who knows what that looks like? Square root of 4. And they can write that, they can insert that in there, and then it'll actually read it aloud as well. So those are like this amazing component of going from speech to digital and then being able to be read back in there. So that I think will really make ideas more concrete for students in advanced math learning to have like a multimodal display. Okay, so I'm super excited by that. Those are all the options that we have in currently when we launched to be able to make that. So that's great for good developers. Now for me, the amazing part and the magic comes when I launch the forms. So let's jump on over to forms and I'll show you the thing. So in forms, we have a great part here. So I think I lost it. So let me rebuild this. So the beautiful part is we work seamlessly now with Google Forms. So if I come down here for this first question, I can write something like solve for X. And if I do that, now over here, you might notice this magic little blue button. So if I hit the magic little blue button, it's going to come up and bring all my equation options up here. So now I can pop the same thing open. It's the same exact experience that I just had in Google Docs. So I have prediction, I have my handwriting recognition with speech as well. So let's say I want to do like x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. And so I want to insert that and have my students be able to solve that. I just click the button, it does this magic making math, and it inserts it directly into my question. So now it's no longer an image, it's actually directly into my question. If I look here and I see where that pops up, now I can say solve for X, I can give direction, and then I have my math question. Okay. So I'm going to answer this now and just show you how the beautiful part is. Anytime there's a short answer, on the student response side, yes. Now they can click on this little button and insert math as a response. So I think that is super cool that I can insert my math there as a response, and I can choose my method. So I can answer by audio, I can answer by handwriting. We'll see if my handwriting works well for me here. But I can pull it up to get more space, and then I can even just try to solve it. So I know that that's going to be x plus 2 plus 2 squared equals 0. And I can come down here in another line, yes. So I can then show multiple lines of work and say that this is going to be x minus 2. And so I have those 2 lines of thought, and I insert that math in there. Granted, I skipped the line, but I would have put the x plus 2 times x plus 2 in parentheses. But now when I submit that, the students can see that, and they can actually communicate a little bit more of their thought process. When I come back to this response part, then I can actually see that as my solvable response. Magic, I think that's so amazing, I love it. So now I can actually have students respond with math with Google Forms. So everything's built on normal Google Forms, and as long as they have the extension installed, that they can do that. And then another component that I'm really excited about is multiple choice. So I might say something like, which is which? And now, if I want, I can have like option A, and inside the option, I can actually put down here, and I can give some different options. So let's say I want to do 1/3, and then I'll insert that component. So that'll be the option, the choice for option A, and then I can do option B in here if I want. So I'll do option B, and I can click on that, do a voice one, 0.56. So I can insert that, and then let's maybe do one for the handwriting option. Option C. Click in there and see how my handwriting can go on this one. Let's do 3 over. That's supposed to be a 4. That didn't go very well. We'll do 3 over 4x just to show it works. That denominator in there. My variable in the denominator. Awesome. So now when I go to my form and I reload that form, automatically the students are going to have the. So if they didn't have Equatio installed, the only thing that would be different would be their email box for math, like stats for them. But you can see all these different options now. I have my math in my options. Multiple choice, there's a necessary evil, but now we don't have to just only use that as our so here, if I want, I can say x minus 2. Let's go back. Let's do x plus 2. So I can hit it either way there. I can say x plus 2. And then, I don't know if our new line component works yet. New line. No, we didn't work yet. But I can put in a new line if I want. And
This is so cool. You can use a Google form for kids to answer complicated math problems, and they can input it with voice. It does predict, like if they want square root, you say square root and the square root comes up. Like it's really good. I know. Where are you going?
formative assessment. I just like how beautiful would be to have all of those in here. Or even like if I did a quick multiple choice thing, I can actually see ways that they could have multiple choice. But I think how beautiful it's going to be, right? Warm-up problem at the beginning of class, I can see how many people have the right train of thought, and then I can actually go into the spreadsheet and see which students are not on the right train of thought and follow up. So those are the things that I'm really excited about incorporating into Google Forms, Google Docs, and really being able to make math visual. Along those lines, before we get to the questions, I want to jump in and talk about where we're moving forward. So this is going to launch on April 4th, and after that we do what's called these monthly sprints, and we should be adding features almost every month. And we have a really big feature coming. I know this is super awesome. I'm excited about this, and we have something bigger coming this summer before we're back to school. And so, what is this going to be? What I'm talking about is going to be this rich math workspace. It's going to have real-time collaboration. So if you, like a student, or students can work on the same digital problem at once. We have some awesome geometry things coming. You'll be able to insert just the handwriting and not the recognized component. We'll have some graph components, sketch diagrams, visual manipulatives for younger students, understand grams, place values, all these other like things. That from now on, like I feel like I was a high school teacher. I feel like we have high school pretty well covered, and my goal is now developing for like a third grader. So if a third grader can make So Google Slides is literally the next thing on our to-do list. I can't make promises, but I really think it can be done before the end of your school year, unless your school year ends in April. And then another thing that we're going to be on as a Chrome extension, we can work in other websites. So that's why it's no longer Gmail as well. It's not just Google and not just Math. We're going to work in other places. And if we encounter non-accessible or inaccessible math on other websites, we will make it accessible. So if you need to send some students to Khan Academy, or if they go there on their own and they need those accessible math if they're not there, we will make that math accessible. So we'll help remath, make it accessible if they aren't. So that's where we're headed. And I'm super excited about where we are, and we're moving forward to just to be able to make Math Digital really incorporate and utilize all this stuff. So let's go ahead and answer some questions. Gina, can you help me out with finding some questions to answer?
Definitely. So we've got a ton of great questions. Danielle is going to help me out with a lot of those. Danielle is here. She's a member of our sales team. For those that do not know her, hopefully some of you do. So she's been going through some questions out.
Thank you. So, John, one question that we received several times from different people is asking about OCR documents and how it works with OCR documents.
That's a great question. So currently we don't do OCR documents. However, we have kind of like a prototype of it, and it is working pretty well. So that is definitely high on our to-do list, especially like for me in the classroom. My biggest value, the thing I value the most is my time. If I've already created something, I want to be able to reuse that. So, excuse me, or even students who can write something on a piece of paper for me. So we have that on our to-do list, and I don't know when it'll be committed, but we are working on OCR. But it's not going to be there on launch.
Okay. Another question that we received a similar type of question from several people in terms of higher level math, geometry, high school geometry, college level math. Does it work with that as well?
Those AP physics.
Yes. Awesome. So let me go ahead. One of the things I'm really excited about is like I taught geometry, so if you want to talk about angle, it really means angle, and then I can even just start talking about congruence, and so it makes it really easy to type into those things. I know this is not valid, but we have parallel, we have. If I want to start talking about array, I can literally start typing array and then make it a B or C. So there's a variety of prediction tools that we have in here. We also have like lots of things for chemistry or like a bijection or lots of these higher level math things. And so that's one of the big things that we want to do. Like we triangle, squares, and so we really want to make it so if they're doing some geometry that it's going to be in there. Now we do have some of the limitations. Like if I can make a line, I can do a line segment. But if I want to do a line, I have to go to so it's going to make line AB. It does, but I can no longer edit it over here. That part's still one of those things that personally frustrates me that we want to make it, but so that that component for geometry, like I'm definitely conscious of making all those easy to do for geometry. And so for higher level things, like even things like I start doing sum, it literally will populate. If I want to do infinity, I can do the sum. It goes from 1 to infinity. I'll just type a bunch of other random stuff in there. So we have a lot of those components in there, especially if you're so for higher level things, we definitely want to make it. Have those components. I used to teach AP stats, and so we have like some of those things like correlational coefficient put in there. Really higher level components that if you're taking AP classes, or teaching AP, those formula sheets are like they are the Bible that they want to use it. So we really are focusing on that. So yes, higher level stuff. We have a full blown LaTeX editor for the most part. So really do a lot of the logic within here as well. So it does, pretty much anything. Like even if I went to a piecewise function, we have some of these built in. We can even do like matrices. So those are just in the LaTeX field. Some of those we just can't do in our prediction part. But we're constantly working on trying to get that. So I think it can do a lot higher end things. Really, however you want to get to, we can do a lot. And then we're constantly building it out. So if you feel like there's something missing, you can contact us. Easily, somebody can tweet it to me or fill out a little feedback form in here that you can contact us.
I'll go to French Canadian customers on the webinar. So they were asking if it is available or will be available in French.
We do have localization on our roadmap. I can't say that we'll be ready by August, but that's one of the things that's high up on our list is to be able to do and speech input in other languages and be able to also then on the other end read it out. So I can't guarantee it'll be ready in French for August, but yeah, I don't want to pin a timeline on, but I'd be surprised if after the 17-18 school year, we still haven't had that localization.
Great. Also, people were wondering if you can pre-build or customize equations so that they're like saved the next time you log in.
We have that on our roadmap. It isn't currently something we can do. I have had some feedback where people have like just the document they might have somewhere then you could it's not really super great, but you can always have it open in another doc and not ideal, but we're looking at not really have that stuff. I know for me when I'm teaching it for unit, I use the same thing over and over and over again. So,
Another question is, does it work on an iPad? Will it work on an iPad?
So currently, extensions don't work on iPads because of the integration between Google Chrome and iPads. However, come August in our build, there'll be a nice little button here that will have a companion app that goes with it. For instance, like I'm on a MacBook Air that doesn't have a touchscreen. I have my phone sitting next to me, which is touchscreen. So August brought a companion app that and they go use it in my phone, or I use it in the iPad. It'll be in that, but it'll do that so I can during those as well.
So, John, we have a pretty specific question that I think would be best for you to answer so that everyone can kind of hear the question and the answer. But someone wrote, I noticed that every time you add a math equation, it shows a link, and this person gave the link as http://API, with several other after that. What is that link, and can you explain more about the link?
Yeah, so essentially, for right now on launch, you'll notice when I put this Spur to 4 in there, it has this thing. So if I click on that, it's literally just a website